Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the LFC Toronto Show. We are on to episode 3. We've got some amazing things to talk about because this time last week, who knew what prize we were going to get going into the weekend? And we're obviously going to talk about that. We bumped that up the agenda this week. But before we get into anything else, obviously, I'm Azaz. We've got Jake and Dan, the regulars. And we have a very special guest with us, our secretary, OLSC secretary. Welcome, Evie.
Thanks, Daz. Thanks, Dan. Thanks, Jake.
We're so excited to have you here. And with that, I believe you are the first Scouser actually on the show, right?
Well, I'm from the Wirral, so, posh bird.
Merseysider, can we say that?
Yeah, same thing to me, love, same thing.
Exactly. So, you'll have seen episode 2 last week. Tell us about how you became a Liverpool fan. Obviously, for you, it's very local, but we would love to hear the original story, the first match, the conversation with your dad that sparked it all off. Anything. We'd love to hear how you became a fan of this beloved club of ours.
All right, I'll try and keep it short. So my dad, lifelong Liverpool fan, and all my family as well. And they're all some are from the Wirral, some are from Liverpool. And when I just never worked out where my dad went every other Saturday when I was a kid. So I said to my mum, where does my dad go? And he disappears. And he comes home pretty sober. So he's not going to the pub. And then figured out he was going to watch football. So I said, I'd like to go. And my mum said, well, let's not sort of influence you by just going with your dad. Why don't you try like Tranmere Rovers? Why don't you go to Everton as well and then go to Liverpool and see if you fancy that? I know. So I went to Tranmere with a friend of mine, AD, and this was when they were like 4th division, languishing at the bottom. There was 10 people and like 4 Jack Russells there, and that was it in the whole stadium. So I left after about 20 minutes because I was bored. I'm only 7 years old at this stage. Went to Goodison with a friend of my dad because my dad wouldn't set foot in there unless Liverpool were playing, and said the place apparently stank. It was horrible. Sorry to any blue noses. So I left with them, said never want to go. And then I went to Anfield with my dad, and I can't even remember the game. I think it was Newcastle, but I was literally like 7 years old. Went to Anfield in the Annie Road, and just loved it. My dad never went in the Kop because he loved going in the Annie Road because he loved the banter with all the away fans, and he would stand like next to them, and he was like this huge guy, like 6'3". So he used to that was our place. That's where we went. Every other Saturday, every home game till I was about 18, and I said, right, you're on your own. You do your own stuff now. And for years, my mum thought we were in in the main stand. And she still doesn't know that we went in the Anfield Road when I was 7 years of age.
Nice.
Otherwise, she'd never have let me go. And that's it, really, pretty much, like in a nutshell. And so for me, Liverpool is my dad, and that connection. So
that's amazing. It's going to be so cool to hear everyone else's individual stories. Dan and Jake, we have to get yours, and even mine at some point as well. Yeah. So first game was you were 7 and you went in the Annie Road. Is that your preferred choice still, or now have you moved and you prefer the Kop or the main stand, or is it because of the heart with you going with your dad, it's still Annie Road for you?
To be honest, as long as I'm in it doesn't matter where I am, just as long as if I'm there. If I'm in the Kop, it's great. If I'm in the Annie Road, but because the Annie Road is like switched over because the away fans now where the Liverpool fans used to be years ago. So it's like, I don't think I'd feel quite the same. And because it's seated as well, it's a little bit different. But no, I'm just happy to get a ticket and happy to get in there and go every year if I can. Last year was the only year since I was 7 that I haven't been to a game because of COVID.
And you were recently at Anfield with another OLSC legend, Donna, and you were at some Liverpool games recently, right?
Yes, so
shout out to Donna.
Sorry?
Shout out to Donna.
Oh yeah, you should get Donna on this, but you'll have to do an hour and a half one.
Absolutely.
You get Donna on.
Absolutely.
That was
pretty cool. We went to a Champions League game together, so it was cool.
If you don't know, this one's an hour and a half as well. We've got you for an hour and a half tonight.
That's why I put a glass of wine next to me.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That's awesome. And you are our OLSC secretary as well. Tell us about what you do for our club on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis.
Everything.
It feels like a part-time job.
VIP. MVP.
But it's I love it. I love being part of the club. I love being involved in in the organisation. I love being there on match day. Like, I love being there on match day. I can't wait for Sunday, even though it's only a 7 a.m. game. Can't wait to be there. And I don't know, we all seem to complement each other pretty well. We've got sort of unique roles, but we fit together quite nicely. And I'm the raffle meister when we have our big game days and stuff. And I don't let anyone say no, or I make them feel bad if they do. So it's a number of things. Like, I do like just the organisation behind things. And I don't know, we just all seem to have our fingers in loads of pies, but it seems to work really well with Jake and Dan and the team.
Well,
beautiful.
On behalf of everyone, thank you for everything you do for us on a daily, weekly basis, because we all see you at the games, bringing the energy, bringing the bucket, doing the raffle. So you actually sold me my first OLSC Toronto scarf this year as well. So
I remember you had the away shirt on.
I did, yeah, first game of this season.
Yeah. Well, it's a total team effort, and it's to people like you as well as for for volunteering and the work that you do as well. Like, it's like a machine that's really motoring this season. We made an awful lot of progress, which has been fabulous, I think.
Super cool. We're going to get back into talking about Toronto and our events later on in our agenda, but we've waited long enough. Who is talking about the big signing, the big January signing, Luis Diaz?
Okay, hold on. Firstly, when we talk about the worry getting up to this transfer window, this is the Michael Edwards done like switch. So from that standpoint, we were kind of worried about that transitional point as a fan. What's he going to be able to concoct? Is he going to have the same magic? Are we going to get the same results? Right. So, us, we want to get everybody, and being involved in every transfer. So we were very worried about that. And did we get to strike a deal, right? So Diaz is the best player on Porto and the best Colombian player at the moment. And he's rated at about a 70, 80 million pound or euro valuation. And so if I'm reading what I'm reading, and they are actually correct, we're paying about 40 plus add-ons to this. And, I know Porto's in a bit of a bind financially speaking. Did we get to take advantage of that situation? That's a different conversation. However, I'm okay to luck out on that dynamic and get a quality signing like this, which has speed, which is young, who is young, about Jota's age, I think, early 20s, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
he's
25.
He's 25, but that's the sweet spot we look for, though. So you make a great point, Jake. Yeah.
And he's got pace and he's got technical skill, right? And he's a bit slight, mind you, but he looks like a tall lad, right? And so I think he'll get in for the headers. So I think that was a very astute signing. And of course, why do we like him? Because when he played on Porto against us, he had moments of flashes, which of course we always remember. Whoever plays against us, whether it's Southampton or whoever the case is, Tacky, I remember.
Minamino,
like whatever else, we have that notion in our heads, and we're like, okay, you know what? Can we get this person? And of course, Klopp could not be happier. And of course, us. We did that transfer, and poor Spurs. So
I want to
negotiating down that
jump
price.
In on that.
Go Dan.
Beautiful.
I want to jump in on that. That makes it so much more sweeter. I don't know about you guys, but it feels like we got one over on my namesake, Mr. Daniel Levy. Right? He's been sort of pushed out by the media, by the journalists as a shrewd operator. Right? I mean, he his transfer dealings, his sales, his incomings, all that, and sort of wage bills and controlling all of that. And what was really interesting was just reading the behind the scenes of the transfer, and how they'd Conte had wanted him, obviously Adama as well as him, and I just go back to, what was it, 2013 or 2011 when Willian and, you know, some of the other sort of transfers that Spurs sort of were in the mix with Chelsea sort of robbed us of, if you will. And I you know, I just say, you know what, I'm so glad that karma came back and we pulled one over that shrewd operator in London. So, but as far as the transfer as well, I mean, you know, goes without saying. Jake just mentioned, I think he's a world-class talent. You know, he's one of the biggest talents in Europe. Winger, fast, pacey. In fact, I think I was reading something today about he actually has the same comparable stats as Mo Salah when he was with Roma, and it's almost identical. And so if there's anywhere near even 50% of what Mo's given us, we're really laughing. Yeah. What do you think, Evie?
But as there's a few things, like the whole Spurs thing just had me in almost hysterics the whole time, because they felt like they've done all the legwork, and it's like we've just gone, woof, come on, like, come over here. It's a lot better. You don't want to go down.
It's Liverpool, man.
It's Liverpool. And then there's all Levy has said he's going to, you know, complain about unfair. I'm like, shut up and go away. You know, yeah. Little man.
That's the business.
That's the business. That's the way it is. But I mean, I'm excited the impact he's going to have. I mean, I don't know, but I'm hoping he brings one for like the last 15 minutes against Cardiff on Sunday, because that's still a possibility. Obviously, he would never play a full game, but I'd just love to see him get on the pitch just for 15 minutes in that number, the hallowed 23 number on Sunday. And I just think it's good to have the competition, you know, with the three up front. You've got Jota now, who's sniffing in there all the time, and now you're going to, now you're going to have Diaz as well. And that just ups people's game when it's not a guaranteed spot anymore. It's good competition.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, the only thing I want to add to the Tottenham thing is, Dan, you're absolutely right about the 2011, 2012, 2013. But recently, like, it was only 2019 when they were our Champions League final opponents, right? And in 2016, they came third in a two-horse race between them and Leicester. So, like, you know, Pochettino came second. Pochettino came second in the league. He came second in the Champions League. Like, they were close, and they were also looking to build a stadium to take the next step. So this is one transfer, but it's actually a big gut punch for them in regards to who they are and their identity as a big club, because I just think it's interesting how, you know, you speak to someone who just got into the Premier League 4 or 5 years ago, and like, there was a moment in time where I would be in Toronto or somewhere in North America, and I'd almost be like, wait, do you think that they're bigger than us? Like, are you crazy? Like, you're watching, and here we are, like, and it's Jurgen, of course, and some of the biggest, like the FSG's people on the business side. But like, it's a quick turnaround that we're able to like pull this off, right?
It speaks to the transfer strategy, right? You know, at the end of the day, and you look at the squad refresh, right? I mean, a lot of folks saw the Champions League final, at least some in the football community, and obviously avid Spurs fans and everyone else, as like an opportunity to strengthen. And it sort of gives you the classic case of, if you don't, then what happens, right? I mean, you see a squad who obviously they still have great talent within there, and Lucas Moura and, you know, Bergwijn or whatever his name is, come in and they've added a bit, but they never truly bought when they were at the top or really close to the top, right? And strengthened in the right areas, and that's where the Luis Diaz signing is paramount for us to complement Jota, to look at the next wave of our team, right? And that's what Jurgen, even with Dortmund, right? I mean, you know, he had looked at sort of younger talent, bring them in, some lesser known names to refresh the squad just in time, because, you know, while your team's on the way down on that denouement, if you will, you know, you need one or two like shrewd signings that'll really pay dividends, and that's why I feel Diaz and to some extent Carvalho might actually be that for us, and obviously the summer as well, we're looking to probably strengthen our midfield. I don't know, Jake, what do you think?
I think that I was a bit gutted that we didn't get the Carvalho deal done in time, right? I think there was a want from both sides. I think there was a bit of a, you know, the loaning back, and I don't know, it was close, and I do have a bit of fear for the summer, because you do have those teams like, you Dortmund, who do poach an incredible amount of quality youngsters. They do pay top dollar, but they get them in, the Jude Bellinghams, like they get them in and, they acclimatize them to the squad, and then just a whole bunch of young cats just enjoying each other's company, and then getting a few games here and there, getting that hype. And so I do fear for some of those people on the global scene, but I think that we have our draw, and I think, he's an English guy. He wants to play for us. So let's hoping, that now we're going to go to a tribunal. What's that cost factor going to be? I'm hoping it's roughly around the Elliott kind of dynamic, which was like 7 mil or 6 mil. And if he has anywhere near the fanfare and skill level as Elliott, then we have another future stud that's going to come through. And kudos, like Elliott's just here now. Again, he's fit. So that's another,
that's a nice
positive
story too, right?
That's a nice positive. But I was actually hoping for a couple of, I wish Nat well in Bournemouth, right? We didn't get rid of him. He's on a loan, which is great. Nico does need some game time. So hopefully with us giving Nico to Fulham for the time being allows him to get that game time and reinforce our relationships to make that transfer a bit easier over the summer. So I hopefully that. I was hoping for a bit more, but I'm happy and content with this. With also today, I read with Thiago's whenever coming back. So, we've got some good punch for the next, 20 games that are scheduled for basically February and March, which is great.
Yeah, I think we're in probably one of the, apart from the lads sort of out in Cameroon, like, and Ali and Bobby, like for Brazil, but, everyone else is rested. We've got people coming back from injury. We've got a class signing. We don't do knee jerk like signings like other teams do. Like even like Mbappe, like leaving PSG and going to Real. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, it's all about the money. I get it, but you're never going to get that big stage, that true big stage that they were, that pull like from 8-10 years ago. And I just feel it's desperation, eeks of desperation sometimes, with sort of like Ronaldo back to Man U just to get back, which I love what's happened. Like it's totally fragmented. But we don't do that. We make solid signings, and and Michael Edwards and Klopp work so well together on that. I know Edwards is like on his way out and Julian Ward is coming in, but Michael Edwards would talk him into signing players. He would be the influencer with Klopp. It wasn't always Klopp. So it's good, but they do good business. They're quite shrewd. There's no knee jerk. So I'm pretty happy where we are when we go into our 20 games in February, which is what it feels like.
It's funny you say that, because the dynamic has always, or at least in the past decade, it's always been with the to the forefront of our fan base. So if you think back to like the Brendan Rodgers, or even before that, right, with Kenny and like the transfer committee, right? Remember the transfer committee was so like out there, and like there would be the battle, or at least like the friction between Rodgers and what he wanted versus the committee. And you think about Klopp though, right? I mean, so he's come in, he's obviously the high profile leader of the team. Just as you said, Evie, it's like the working dynamic between Michael Edwards and the scouting and the analytics and everything else with Klopp. And not just that, it's also the executive support with Mike Gordon, like that full sort of synergy that never existed with Rodgers. And Jurgen's humility, I feel, adds to that, because he could easily just, use his name, use his weight, and say, you know what, I want that player. I want Julian Brandt instead of Mo Salah, right? Or whoever it was, or I don't know if that was the exact timing, but you know what I mean? And I think it speaks a lot to our synergy there, and long may it continue with Julian.
Yeah.
I think what Evie raised a great point. Salah is the prime example of someone the transfer committee sold to Klopp versus the other way around, right? So Julian Brandt was the one that Klopp wanted in that summer 2017, and we ended up getting Mo Salah, who is arguably the best forward in our modern history. It's interesting how you would have the humility as a leader for Jurgen Klopp to do that. What always blows me away on this topic is, though, how some of our fan base think they know Klopp's working conditions better than, these things. Oh yeah, and even like, there's great books written about Jurgen Klopp. I've read his biography with Raphael Honigstein. Melissa Reddy's done a book, and in those books you talk about like Klopp as the leader committing to the process and the culture. But you'll find Liverpool fans on Twitter and chat groups and stuff saying, if they do not back Jurgen, he will leave. And it's like, Jurgen's good. Jurgen's fine. Like, you have the problem. You want the Mbappe. You want the Haaland signing, right? Like, Jurgen's good. Like, does Jurgen Klopp, straight up, someone answer this question, does Jurgen Klopp come across as a guy who some suits somewhere could give the runaround to?
No. But as one point to that, I think last year at this time, maybe December-ish, there was the injury crisis, right? And he did it in a presser. I don't know if you guys remember that one, right? Where the journalists sort of took it off and almost he generally insinuated like we have zero like fit center backs, like senior center backs right now. We need to do something, and he said it earlier in the window, rather, or even before that, right? In late December. And then only then we get, Ozan and Davies coming in. But that was the only time I could ever remember that he actually, somewhat forcefully, I wouldn't say forcefully, but for Jurgen standards, right? I mean, he's by the company book, but at the end of the day, he was feeling a bit aggrieved that no reinforcements were in, because the season was there to salvage, right? At the end of the day, we're still in top 2, top 4, and then we slipped out of it. And then somehow Ali's, magic and everything else, Mo and everyone just salvaged it. But yeah, it was a crazy time.
So everyone, we're giving this transfer window what, like an A, a B, like what we're looking at?
Yeah, it's A. It's A.
I'm an A.
Yeah, I'd say an A. Yeah,
I'm happy. If you look at Arsenal, they've just offshored a load of players that they'll probably say that they can't play the rest of the Premiership, like the rest of the Premiership games. They've brought no one in, and they've Aubameyang's gone because him and Arteta fell out. Yeah. And I'm like, but you've not brought anybody in. So for us, I'm more than happy. We've got a full squad coming back as well.
That's it. Those are like new signings for me, like Thiago coming back and Harvey coming back. It feels like a signing almost again. And Thiago, obviously a couple of tough injuries. Yeah, it feels like that. Yeah,
it feels like that every time Thiago comes back.
Yeah, he comes back and he comes back and he has like a couple of worldy matches, and then suddenly for something he and then he comes back again and then he shows his class, and then so hopefully he stays a bit more consistent. I mean, just what a class player he is, and really in 4 competitions now. I mean, we really need him. So yeah.
October 2020 was the last time we had this many players available all at the same time. So if you think about like when all that started to go wrong last season, it's one game. We know which game it is. So it's like from that point up until when we start to make preparations for the Leicester game, because obviously Mo and Sadio will either be in the final. Sadio's already in the final. I can see beaming that one. But they're either going to be in the final or the third place game. So they're both playing till Sunday. But until they come back, when they come back, we've got everybody available. Like it's an embarrassment of riches for us, because we've had to do knock on everything. But I'm going to pivot to us looking at these 20 games ahead and just more of a macro view, because as we get into it, we'll start to look at it week by week. But it's such an exciting time, and I'm so happy that we get to share these moments together.
Absolutely,
completely.
So Evie, I'm gonna start with you here. Let's look at like what's happening for the title challenge, Champions League. Are we doing the quadruple as Dan predicted in the first week of this show? How do you see this going? Take.
Well, I'm very much of the Azaz Kool-Aid. You know that. It's like we know that from our chat groups and whatever. You don't give up. But we're in on 4 fronts. Like we're second in the league. Game in hand on City. We've got to play them. City have got a couple of really tough games coming up with people who are trying to poach for fourth, like United and Spurs, plus Everton, who are relegation fodder right now. Lampard's going to be wanting to, make an impact. So I can see them dropping points like in those 3 games. So to me, season is far from over and never was. And it ain't over until it's mathematically impossible in my book.
Tell that to our WhatsApp chat.
Yeah. We got our League Cup final.
It was full doomsday before that, but anyway, I appreciate your
sorry. We've got the final end of the month. Love a final. Mid-season, always love it. We're playing Chelsea. I don't care. It's like if we're even the underdog for it, I really doesn't bother me whatsoever. I'm sure we'll do fantastic. We've got the FA Cup game on Sunday. I thought it was Saturday, but it's Sunday against Cardiff. So I know it's early doors, but this is a great opportunity for us to do a lot of rotation with a lot of the young lads that have been coming through in the academy as well. I'm really, like Tyler Morton, like really showing I think he's going to be a player for us in the future, most definitely.
Yeah.
And we're in the Champions League and we killed the group of death. Made a lot of money from it as well by getting through as quickly as we did. And I'm like, just bring on Inter, bring it on, can't wait. So, and if we end up just being a cup side this year, I'm cool with that. That's fine as well. But obviously, I would like everything.
Yes.
And I don't think it's, why not reach for the stars? We've done it before. We can always do it again.
Completely.
So I feel pretty confident.
I think that the Cardiff one, I'm curious as to what squad he's going to put out. And I do appreciate what you're saying, Evie, with respect to Tyler, maybe Bradley. You put in Bonner, Dixon Bonner. Like he had a few, and Cade, and Cade. Dan loves Cade quite a bit. They're good. They're good emerging talents.
Yeah.
And we're in this next round now. So what's going to be our balance between? Do you throw $1 million there, or what's going to be the balance between two? Like Kelleher, right? Who's going to get the game time? And of course, the premise is not, of course, which is our mantra, is basically no matter what games we are playing, knock on wood, there's no injuries, of course, right? And first and foremost, especially with the 10 or 20 games in February, March. But what is the squad that he's going to put out? So I'm not sure, and I don't know actually in a seasonal position of Cardiff, where are they in their table? Are they in the bottom? They're in the bottom half. Okay, so I mean, this is their final. This is what they're playing for, right? So what happens in the cup, right? That they get some. Every team that plays against us has some extra juice, extra energy, and hopefully for us, we can kind of suppress that and show our magic versus their energy levels that they're going to bring. We know they're going to bring that, right? So that's an interesting premise from the cup perspective. I'm relishing the Champions League pieces, right?
Yeah.
To show us on that global stage, right? And in listening to, there's a few injuries that these other teams have, which we also do. So whatever, but I'm relishing getting back into that competition, getting to see our boys play at the highest levels with that full attacking squad, right? And having a bit more talent in the midfield with the steal, which is what I want, spraying the balls all over the pitch. The one-touch passing, we get speed in every position almost, right? I'm not saying Thiago's the fastest, right? But every outside position, the backs, we've got some good pace. So I'm really looking forward to the season ahead, as well as I do love the fact that I hate it from the player perspective, but literally it feels like every 2 or 3 games we get to watch Liverpool play, right? So from that perspective, I mean, I love that, right? And I'm gearing my entire my meeting schedules and whatever else to these games that are coming up, because
hope
what we're looking for.
Hope your employer's not watching.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, we watch them afterwards. We watch them in the evening.
Well, I do have Dr. Jurgen's doctor's appointments every now.
Fair enough. Yeah.
My calendar.
So what's amazing about this foursome here is we've been going in and out of the agenda just organically. We have an agenda set, and yet we seem to be covering all the points, just from the flow of the conversation. So that's been so cool to see. I'm like looking at the agenda, I'm looking at our timing, and I'm like, wow, like Jurgen's Reds over here. Looking at the agenda, there's one thing that we've already touched on that I want to give Dan the stage for, which is AFCON, because two of his true loves were there. Two of three of his true loves. One remains and has made it to all three for sure. But like, we already have Sadio in the final. We said it last week. On one hand, we should be like not enjoying this and wanting him back and wanting him, but like as it starts to evolve, like how are we ever going to want Mane to lose or Mo to lose? And on Sunday, one of them has to lose if Egypt get to the final. But Dan, how has this been watching Sadio find this phenomenal form? Not that he's had a bad season, but like he's been immense out there, concussion included. Yeah.
Well, one word, Diaz. Maybe that sparked his, renaissance here. No, I honestly would say, and I think we experienced it about 2 nights ago, and tonight as well. Probably going on right. Actually, it's going on about an hour from now. But Canada, right? When Canada, how do you feel about Canada, right? I mean, think about it. We're so close away, and the reason why I bring that up is the passion and the pride you have for your own nation and your country, men and women. Growing up like that, and I think it's sad sometimes, especially in the metaverse and on social media, where again, club loyalties are there, and I totally understand it. Selfishly as Liverpool fans, we want to see our players back, but I always lean on the other side to say, like, how would you feel if you were, let's say, playing for your country, right? And that excited to go that far, like Sadio has already, and Mo, and I think they've been excellent. Like, they've just been like champions. They're leaders. They're pros. I mean, their play is dictating what their country is doing. I mean, literally, they're both carrying their nations on their back. And I love the camaraderie. I don't know if you guys saw the picture of the two of them, right? And just in between matches and such. And I think much was made about that whole Mane Salah relationship and whatnot, but I think they both, wish the best upon each other, and I think a lot of Liverpool's fans, including us, and actually the majority, probably want to see that final. Cardiff aside, I mean, look, it's an FA Cup at the end of the day. I'd rather a final between Mane, with Sadio and Mo, on Sunday. Would it be? Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday.
And have that match along with our match, and to watch. So that'd be really, really cool if that happened.
What time is the final? I know the 3rd and 4th place is the same day.
Yeah.
What time is the final?
I believe it's 2 p.m. I believe it's 2 p.m. Yeah, I think. Yeah,
perfect, right?
The morning. Yeah. I believe, but we'll just double check that. But I believe, the premium, like the semi-finals and the final, are at 2 p.m. So, we're almost at the time to take us home, which Jake can do by telling us all the events that are coming up. But before we do, we need Cardiff predictions. So, Evie, I'm going to start with you.
4-0.
4-0. Okay. Yeah. Dan?
I'm going to say a 3-1.
Jake?
I was going to say 3-0. 3-0 for us.
I'm gonna go 2-0, because I think with us being at home, I feel like we're gonna take it not easy, that's disrespectful, but just more like a ease back in to the next set of games. So I feel like if we get a goal early, we might just like keep them at arm's length. They're not doing great, as Evie was saying anyway. So for once, I'm gonna be like the conservative one and just say 2-0 on that. And also AFCON, who's winning it? Well, Mo's not even in the final yet. So if you're saying Egypt, it's like the next level. But I'm going to start with Jake this time.
I mean, I do like, as we spoke, I think Sadio, I want Sadio to get some accolades, give him some juice, and so he can come back all revved up. I'm gonna go for Sadio.
Evie?
Senegal, same sentiment.
Dan?
I would love it to be Mo, or at least Egypt versus Senegal, but I feel Cameroon has picked up some momentum, and I think they'll be in the final. And of course, King Sadio is who I'd love to see win it. If it is Mo in that match, I don't know. I just hope it goes to pens. and they both score, and then for some reason the keeper or something that messes up, or maybe there's some United affiliation or something. I don't know what, but just nothing on our guys, because they've been excellent for us and for the nation. So yeah, I like to see a good match too.
I think the Cameroon shout's a good one. They're the hosts. We're LFC podcast, so we're caught in that. But like whenever the hosts get to this stage, like there's often that momentum as well. And imagine Matip played for them. We'd almost have like a no lose. So in fact, it would be Matip in defense versus Sadio in attack. But of course, he did us a good and retired from that.
Well, let's not talk about the Euro final. Though that didn't quite work out with the host winning.
True, but they got to the final. But yeah, you're right. Jake, let's talk about Cardiff and the Carabao Cup in Toronto. We are back.
Yeah, so we are back this weekend at the pub at Madison. So please we implore you to go to our website just to book a reservation, to make sure that from a COVID protocol perspective, they're staffing accordingly. And if you get a ticket, it's a free ticket. We're going to have some coffee and some food for you to join us. So that would be great. And moving on to the Cup final against Chelsea as well, we have got 3 fantastic locations that we're hosting events. We've got Sly Fox in Burlington, we've got the Elephant Castle in Toronto, and of course our home, the Madison. So if you do go to our website, please go and reserve a spot. You have options to choose either one, so please do so. We implore you to do that. And so again, doing the same premise of supporting us, getting the numbers together so we can organize the COVID protocols, they can staff accordingly, and then we can service the audience appropriately. So please, we implore you, go do that, come support. We're already getting tickets like every day. So please do that. They are moving quite fast. So please do that, and hopefully we'll see you soon on those both events. Appreciate that.
They are free, all of those events that we just said. We just need the ticketing for the COVID, as Jake said. So they're free. There's no charge, but you just have to get a ticket for that. While we've got Evie here, where's the best raffle prize?
Where is it going to be?
Yeah.
Oh, well, wherever I am.
Of course. Any teasers on that one?
No, we're working through that in terms of different types. So it's going to be an event, like we'll make them all in 3 pubs and events. So it'll be a lot of fun, and I'm bringing a lot of people from Unionville again.
Love it.
They brought it for the Man United vibe. So
amazing. I'm just looking at the time, so we're going to sign off. This was amazing as always. See some of you back next week, and Evie, see you on Sunday for the pub.
Yes, most definitely 7:00.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Have a great one.
Cheers.
Bye.
Go Canada.
Bye. Yeah. Go Canada and up the Reds.